Tell a friend, join our newsletter, and go make a difference in your world. Now on to our show with your host, Peter Mingils.
Hello, everyone. Peter Mingils here. You're listening to us on Building Fortunes Radio. It's www.buildingfortunesradio.com. For all those people that might be unfamiliar with my voice, my name is Peter Mingils. We've run Building Fortunes Radio. Actually, I own the domain name. We've been doing this for a long time, since the beginning part of 2013. Tail end of 2012, we started doing our internet radio shows, and we've been putting these up on Building Fortunes Radio for a really long time. Now, they're available on Stitcher, Player FM, Spotify, iTunes, iVox. I mean, you'll find them all over the place. Mixcloud, SoundCloud. You'll see them in all different places. So if we look like we're all over the place, it's because we are. One of the things recently I did was I asked a good friend of ours, his name is always Ray Gebauer, to host a radio show with us on Wednesday night at 11 p.m. Eastern. That's 8 p.m. Pacific time. That's where he is. I'm in Florida. And Ray has been super gracious of being here almost every weekend, or every weekday, rather, at Wednesdays at 11 Eastern, that we've had some really great radio shows. While we're doing our expanding, we decided that we were going to take our Building Fortunes Radio shows and turn them into movies, and we'll put them on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch and eventually LinkedIn when they have them. So because there's a Facebook limit of 30 minutes, what I'm going to do for this one is we're going to keep this radio show down to about 30 minutes so we can broadcast it in more places. So you'll be able to hear us in addition to buildingfortunesradio.com. You'll be able to see it on the YouTube channel and on Twitch and on Facebook and on, if I didn't say YouTube already, then we're working on a couple of other platforms as well. So Ray's got a great message, and we want to make sure that more people have access to his great messages. So I'll kind of make sure that we don't run too long on this radio show. Some of our other radio shows, if you go to buildingfortunesradio.com/Ray-Gebauer, you can hear the brilliance of Ray Gebauer as he's talked about a whole bunch of really great things. So, Ray, thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks, Peter. I'm happy to be here. So do I have 30 minutes starting now or 30 minutes from when you started talking?
From when I started. Yep, I'm taking some of your 30. So I'll pull out the coat hanger, or whatever kind of a device that is before 30 minutes, because it's really super important to me that we have more people get a chance to see who you are and what you do. So I'll kind of make sure that we keep track of time. So over and back to you.
Okay, so I got about 26 minutes. Okay, great.
Yep, you got it.
Okay. Well, if you've been paying attention to the news at all, you've probably at least once have heard this F word, fraud. All of this talk about this voter fraud going on, and, how the voting didn't go the way it's supposed to. And so I'm going to not really talk about that, but I'm going to sort of play off of that and give you a message that I think is somewhat ties to that in a creative way that can be helpful for you in your everyday life, especially if you're trying to have great success in a home-based business and create residual income and freedom. So the key word is also going to be an acronym, is the word vote. So in contrast to our current world, our political world, I want you to try to imagine a world in which it's okay and ethical and actually a moral obligation to vote over and over many times, like every day. And imagine that in this world that there's a particular candidate that you really, really want to win. I mean, it's going to make a whole difference in your life whether or not this candidate wins. And so you're going to do everything you can and vote as many times as you can and get as many people to vote as many times every day as they can to make sure your candidate wins. Now, the reason it's so and this election is about becoming president. So, and the reason this is so important to you is because this candidate happens to be you. You are the candidate running for president. In this case, not particularly the president of the United States, but the president of of your life, the president of your company and your business. And so I'm going to take that approach and talk about how you can realistically and in a relevant way be, in a real sense, voting for yourself so that you can get to where you want to go. To be president, whatever that would mean for you, whatever level you want to get at, whether that's, making $1,000 a month, $1,000 a week, or $1,000 a day, or $1 million a year. So let's start off with the word vote, and I guess we'll skip Peter's guesswork here on what the words stand for just ahead of time.
This is where I usually guess and get it close but not right. Yeah. So vote is an acronym. I just made this up just a few minutes ago, so it's pretty fresh. But I decided the first word that starts with V, that if you want to be voting effectively, like every day for yourself, you got to start with this V word. If you want to have victory, you've got to have this fundamental, foundational word that also starts with V that you've heard about. It's not an uncommon word, but it's super important, and that is having a clear, compelling vision. In fact, there's a verse in the Bible that says, without a vision, people perish. So the reason most people perish or they're not successful in life or business is because they don't have a clear vision. Well, that's not 100% of everything, but that's a big part of it. So what is a vision? A vision is a view of the future that's usually positive. You're using your imagination, and you imagine a better world in which you've achieved what it is that you want to achieve. It's been said, he who aims at nothing is sure to hit it every time. So if you don't aim for something, you're not likely to get it. Like someone said, if you don't know where you're going, it doesn't matter if you don't have a destination in mind, it doesn't matter which direction you're going or how fast you're going. So you got to get clarity on what you want and have a clear vision. But here's where people really miss out on the power of vision. They assume that just having a clear vision in your mind is all that you need to do. You have your vision board, and that could help. But I'm telling you, the real power isn't in just the visualization and the vision itself, but you have to have your heart in it. You have to, like Les Brown said, you got to be hungry. You have to have a strong desire and a commitment, top-level commitment, which even that can just be intellectual. You've got to have strong emotions behind it. You have to have strong enough reasons to make it happen. Because I tell you what, it's not easy. It doesn't happen on its own. It takes perseverance and effort, and you're not going to make it unless you do enough of the right things. As wonderful as this industry is, I've made over $10 million myself, and I've had almost 1 million people in my downline, but that's rare. Less than 2% of the people, really make any decent money. But everybody could. Everybody could be the exception, like I was an exception. But everybody can be exceptional if you do enough of the right things, starting with this foundation of having a vision that's compelling where you see your better life at stake. It's like, well, we'll give this a try and see how it works out. If it doesn't work out, no big thing. I always have Social Security or whatever. I always get a job at Walmart if I need to. No, you've got to be feeling like I have to do this. I'm like T. Harv Eker like to say, over, under, around, or through, whatever it takes, I will do. So you just don't want to have a shell of a vision. You have to have substance and depth and passion. Otherwise, it's not going to fly. It's like having a beautiful airplane,
multi-million-dollar airplane, but if there's no gas in it, it's not going to even get off the ground, let alone get you to where you want to go. And so the gas, the fuel, is your energy and your passion. So anyway, so that's the first step here. Vision. I set my timer for 20. I thought it was 20 minutes. I set it for 20 hours. Oh, that's not going to help. Okay. Anyway, so the next
I'll keep you posted, but just so you know, I guessed vision being the first one, so I got it right. So go ahead.
Oh, good for you. Every once in a while, in the blue moon, you get. Yeah. And, you want to sort of have, like X-ray vision of the future, except you're not really seeing what's already happened. You're creating it. You're making it up, and you can make it happen. So, anyway, so that's our starting point. That's like the launching pad. If you want your rocket to get off the planet and toward whatever star you're going to, you've got to have vision, velocity, and if you want to have victory, especially if you want to win your election so you can be elected president in our metaphor here. Okay, the O, I was going to use optimism because I like to talk about that. That's so important. Optimism is another word for faith or belief or confidence. But I decided instead I'm going to go with a different word. Maybe you guessed this one right too, Peter. The O in this acronym is going to be owner. So you've got to own your life. You got to own your business. You got to stop. And I'm telling you, stop it. Stop thinking of yourself or referring to yourself as a distributor. Okay, yeah, technically that's true. That's like saying, well, I'm just like a employee. Distributor is accurate, but there's no power in that. So you've got to elevate yourself to the truth that you are an owner. Now, you're not the owner of the company, but you are, in a sense, a co-owner, or at least an independent business owner. In fact, the company that I'm passionate about and I'm building, I'm going to get this up to 1 million customers. That's what they call us. We're independent business owners, IBOs. But whatever company you're in, whether you're joining me or continuing on with what you're doing, you're much more powerful and effective, and you take it much more seriously when you consider yourself an owner. If someone gave you a free business or it cost you just a couple $100 to get started, it's not going to make that much difference if it doesn't work out. But say you bought a McDonald's franchise, which, if you can believe it or not, used to be $500 to get a McDonald's franchise in the beginning. Now it's like $1 million. But so if you had $1 million invested, or you borrowed $1 million, you're going to take it seriously. I mean, like, this is my business. I'm the owner. The buck stops here. And so, but when you're in contrast, when you're too casual, you become a casualty. And most people take their business too casually. They treat it like a hobby. And so at the best, they get a hobby level income instead of a professional serious income. So it starts with not just what you do, but who you are, and recognizing who you are. You are the owner of your own company, your own business, and you should have a business name, whether you register or not. You should have a business name, so you're taking this more seriously. You got to take ownership. And so, like, if you're running for president and you're serious about it, you have to own that. Like, this is my life. This is my project. Over, under, around, or through, whatever it takes, I will do. That's what owners do. Employees don't do that. Distributors don't do that. You can be a distributor in a dozen companies. But when you position yourself in your mind and elevate yourself to the reality that you are an owner, that empowers you. And you're much more likely to stay in the game if you're the owner versus, I'm a distributor with ABC company. You want to become a distributor too? You want to be inviting people to become owners, like getting a franchise, like $1 million franchise that they can get in for, like with us, $25 or a couple $100. And create $1 million income and it isn't just about the money. You want to have $1 million impact. You want to make a difference for millions of people. But if you don't have a strong, accurate perception of who you are, not just what you're doing, you're in a much weaker position. So ownership, or seeing yourself as the owner of this venture, of this project, of this adventure, is much more empowering. When you're the owner, everything's at stake. It's all based on you. And so, but this kind of business, you own your own business, but you're not alone. You're part of a network. You have a built-in support system, and plus you have potential mentors and coaches, and that's often where I come in. That's what I do a lot of. I mentor and coach people, for free, because I want people to be empowered to get to where they want to go. So part of your vision, going back to the V word, is you have to see yourself not just in the future as a successful owner, but see yourself right now in your vision as an owner right now. Someone who is in process to be successful, where failure is impossible and your success is inevitable. You have to have that level of confidence. And if you don't have that level of confidence, you need to work on it and connect with the people that can help you raise your perception up to an accurate perception that you really are the owner, whether you feel like it or not. And whether you have what it takes or not, it doesn't matter, because as long as you stay in the game and work with the right people, and oftentimes it's more of who you work with and what you're working on that makes a difference, well, you will have the outcome and success you want. Now, the T in the vote, you want to take a quick guess on that, Peter?
Well, I know you'll believe me, but I did get the second one right as well. I called it ownership. The third one, I'm going to use. The third one, I'm going to use the word try, and I have to explain that. And the fourth one, I'm going to use the word eternity. So the reason why I say try is most people say when people try to do things, it doesn't work out. But if your vision is the right way and you're taking ownership of it, sometimes you just got to get started. So that's the try. And if you continuously try for eternity, you'll eventually figure it out. So I know those last two are wrong, but I just had to throw out that I know I got the first two right. Back to you.
Well,
you got 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. Okay, so try is a good word. I don't mind using that, but I'm going to use a more powerful, important word here in life. As you've probably heard, timing is everything. That's probably hyperbole, but it's not far off. Timing is such a huge factor. In fact, I've just heard Robert Dean. He's made over $10 million. He's quite well known in this industry. He said he was making $300,000 a month with Noni at one point. So he's very successful, very sharp guy. I talked to him just today on the phone. I introduced him about a month ago to my business, and he actually has joined me and is super happy and excited about the product and the pay plan and everything else. But here's the point I wanted to make about Robert. He was saying that people don't realize how important timing is. He said, people think I'm this great guy, but the reality is it's not so much me being great, is I knew how to discern the timing. And so if you get the timing right, you look a lot better than you really are. I thought that was really sort of clever, creative. So timing is so important in two respects. Number one is the timing with the company. You don't want to try to run a race on a dinosaur. A company's been around for a long time. Everyone knows about it. It's not necessarily bad, but if you want to have great success and faster success, you want something that's fresh, that most people don't know about, and you have to have, there's other factors too. But you don't want to start too early, like a ground floor opportunity where you have a 95% chance of failure. You need to go with a vehicle that's at least 4 years old. So it's established, they have a track record. Otherwise, it's a huge, huge gamble. But even more important than that, as important as that is the timing in your own personal life. In terms of, to get somewhere, you got to do something, right? To get somewhere in a car, you got to do certain things. You got to get in the car. You got to turn the key, the ignition, and put it in reverse probably, and operate the steering wheel, make sure you have enough gas in there. So you got to do certain things in a certain sequence. You can't just switch it all around. So timing, as far as this business goes, is you've got to take time, invest time on a daily basis, if at all possible. Maybe you have a job where you're working 70, 80 hours a week, and it's a little rough, but you fit it in. But ideally, you've got to, your timing is every day. So getting back to what I said at the beginning, you're voting every day. The way you vote for yourself every day is you vote yourself into action. You're electing yourself, and as you bring other people on your team, they're voting for you every day that they do something. And they help someone, they create some volume that moves you up the ranks until you are a president, hopefully within a year. So think of timing as, make sure you are timing your day to allot, let's say, at least 1 hour a day, or 2 hours a day, where you are focused on doing what you need to do. And ideally, it should be scheduled. So like maybe for you, it's between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m., or maybe between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m., or it's much, much more likely to get done if it's on a schedule. That's why jobs work so well for people, because they're structured. Well, in this, when you're the owner, you don't have any structure unless you make your own structure. So you've got to create that timing, that structure, to keep you active in the game. And, geez, how much time do I have left? 8 minutes. Okay. So let's go down here to the last word here. I chose for this word, I was going to talk about energy, but I talked about that a lot. I decided to use a word I've already used, actually, a couple of times, but just to drill down a little deeper. The E in the VOTE acronym, vision, owner, timing, is elevate. You've got to elevate your perception of yourself. You don't elevate yourself, really. You elevate your perception of yourself to the actual truth that you are president in process. You're president in development. You're on the way. It's not whether or not you will make it, and we don't know for sure it's going to be a close election. No, you've got it in the bag. You've won for sure, as long as you do whatever it takes, which part of that's vision, ownership and timing. But you've got to elevate yourself like this is a done deal. I'm in the process. It's inevitable. So you got to elevate your confidence and match your actions and attitudes to your confidence that this is inevitable. Now, realistically, maybe that's not the best word. The average person's not going to do this. The average person doesn't. They run out of gas. They don't have confidence. They don't have the right support. So you have to be the exception, just to be honest with you. And most of you listening are probably not going to be able to do this. But you also can be the exception. You can get yourself elected to president. And like with my company, someone who's president, they're making, probably $1 million a year. So it not only is it doable, but it's doable for you, starting with these 4 points: the vision, the ownership, timing, especially on a daily basis, and seeing yourself more accurately as someone where success is inevitable. Yeah, and you may feel like it's just a chunk of coal, but given enough time and the right kind of pressure and circumstances, that coal can become a diamond. Now, in nature, that can take thousands of years, maybe millions, but in this business, it can happen in 1, 2, 3, 4 years. And so you got to see yourself, I'm a diamond in process. I'm a president in process. It's just a matter of time. But if you don't like Napoleon Hill says, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But you got to see it. Like John Maxwell said, you got the 3 S's. You got to see it, you got to say it, then you got to seize it. Seize it is the action. So you got to elevate your perception of yourself to see yourself as a hero, an action hero. A hero is someone who takes action that saves someone's life, that makes a difference. And so you can go from zero to hero. And it isn't about just becoming a hero, but seeing yourself right now as a hero that's going to make a significant, meaningful difference for many, many lives. And now you're just in the process of manifesting who you really are. You are that hero. You might feel like a zero. Everyone sees you like a zero, but you're really a hero in disguise. It's like a most beautiful flower starts off as a seed. Well, it's still a flower, even though it doesn't look like one if it's a seed. But so you're at the seed level. So it's just a matter of time and doing enough of the right things, the vision, being the owner, the timing, and elevating yourself to the truth as an action hero that makes things happen, and you'll get the outcome that you want.
Excellent. So now, I just want to mention. Yeah, perfect. I want to mention that I want you to give out your contact information for those people who are interested in learning more. Remember, you always be able to hear Ray again on buildingfortressradio.com/Ray-Gebauer. Gebauer spelled Gebauer, Ray. So give us your contact information.
Yes, I would love to connect with you if this resonates with you, so I can start voting for you every day, particularly if you want to join me, and we can, do something great together. And so often, like I said, you have to be with the right vehicle, the right people, the timing. And so anyway, to get a hold of me, I talked a little fast tonight because of my timing.
Doing good.
I condensed this down. So my phone number is 360-206-9266. I'm in Washington, state of Washington. But you can call me or text me anytime, 360-206-9266. And I'd love to share with you what I feel are the 5 major unfair advantages that you would get working with me and this company to help you to get to where you want to go. Make sure you get there and get there as fast as possible, because consider what's at stake. Your better life is at stake. Other people's lives are at stake. If you don't do what you need to do, a lot of people miss out. They're ripped off because you could have helped people. But if you run out of gas, you don't get to where you want to go. So I can help you. So I think that's Excellent. It for tonight, Peter.
That's it. You are done. But we'll be able to pick you up on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and a few other things, including LinkedIn pretty soon. We're going to catch everybody next time on Fortunes Radio. Mr. Ray Gebauer, thanks as usual for being here, and we'll see everybody next time.
You've been listening to Building Fortunes Radio on buildingfortunesradio.com. Thanks for listening. Be sure to check us out every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time for the designated Building Fortunes Radio segment with Peter Mingils. Be sure to check out the buildingfortunesradio.com website for our featured segments. It's been our privilege to have you listen in. At Building Fortunes Radio, we wish you the success you deserve and are willing to work for. So spread the word, tell a friend, join our newsletter, and go make a difference in your world.